If you've ever found a parking ticket on your windshield that you don't think you deserve, there may be some hope. Here to tell us how to challenge and possibly beat those unwanted parking tickets is Chicago's self-proclaimed Parking Ticket Geek, Mike. He is the creator of the website, theexpiredmeter.com. Mike, welcome to Chicago Tonight.
Pleasure to be here.
You don't want us to give out your surname, and why is that?
Well, it makes it a lot easier for me to navigate through the administrative hearing process. I feel that if they know my name, they may put a little bit of undue, not pressure, but hold me up to a little higher standard. And I think I want to make sure that I'm getting the most honest experience when I am having parking tickets heard.
Kind of like a restaurant critic.
Exactly.
Okay, fine. Well, how many parking tickets do you get that you need to protect your surname?
An embarrassing amount. And I think the main qualification that I have for doing the website is the fact that I've, got so many darn tickets, and I've been booted before and had the car towed, and it comes from a lot of pain, so it's kind of cathartic for me to write about it.
We're looking at your website right now, and you posted the fact that you were going to be in our show. That's why people are seeing my picture on it. But I spent time on your website. You get a lot of traffic. What are the most common kinds of questions or situations that people present to you when they write to you? And there you are with a couple of parking tickets over your face.
Well, it's been all over the place. A lot of questions about the new parking meter lease deal that got approved back in December, because the rate changes are going to go through very shortly when the actual contract is signed in approximately 2 weeks. So a lot of questions about that. There's questions about red light tickets. There's questions about tow zones and expired meters and motorcycle parking.
So you become the go-to guy for online for a lot of those issues.
Seemingly.
Now, the city has a website where it gives some defenses that they acknowledge for parking tickets. Give me an idea of what the city says or defenses that people can use.
Well, if the car was stolen and gets a ticket, then of course you're not responsible. If you are not the owner of the vehicle, meaning if you left the plate, you sold the car, but you forgot to take the plates off, and somebody's driving around with their car with your plates and getting tickets, you're not responsible for it. If the meter is not working, you cannot be held responsible for that. These
are all on the city's website. You know what? Let's switch gears and go to your website, because you have some specific pointers.
Right.
And let's put them up on the screen. You call them the Parking Ticket Geeks tips, and they include check the ticket to make sure the factual information is correct. Look up the municipal code for your violation. Make sure your defense fits one of the city's 7 accepted defenses. You were just talking about them. Use photographic or documentary evidence whenever possible. And number 5, pay the tickets you are liable for before they double. Let's go to the first one. Check the ticket to make sure the factual information is correct. What kinds of factual information?
Well, the ticket has to be accurate. It has to have the right license plate, your license plate. It has to have the right make and model. It has to have the correct address of where the violation occurred. And I don't mean like you were at 2402 North Clark and they wrote it at 2404. That's not going to fly. But if they have you at 4400 block of Clark Street and you're at 2400 block, then that's a way you can get the ticket dismissed.
How can you prove that? If the ticket says you were at 4400 North Clark and you say, no, Your Honor,
right?
Or
well, if it's at a meter, you can request stuff through the Freedom of Information Act. You can find out where that meter was, and they can give you a location of where it was. Or if you have, it helps if you have somebody in the car or witness that says, you know what, we weren't there, and I'm gonna back up the story. And do it that way. Now, for example, I had a ticket the other day. I had a meeting. I was too late. I came out. The meter had expired. But they wrote the ticket on the wrong meter. So the meter number is wrong. So I'm going to find out where the actual meter they wrote is, and they're going to compare it to the address, and I'm going to beat that ticket.
Okay. Here's a basic question. Looking up the meter number, checking the location, bringing in a witness. At what point does the amount of time you put in justify the possible savings?
That's absolutely a great question, and on the site I had written about, well, it's a matter of economics. You have to figure out how much is your time worth it. Is it just worth it to write the ticket, write the check for $50, and get on with it? I see it as more that you, as a citizen, really have to make sure that the city is doing its job and they're not issuing tickets that are improper. And I feel there's a moral responsibility, for lack of a better way to say it, that people should fight their tickets and fight back. Because I think the city is seeing tickets as a way to generate revenue and not necessarily use it in the way it was intended, which is to control traffic.
How many times have you been successful in appealing the tickets you've gotten, percentage-wise?
I'd say about 85%.
85%? That's a pretty good record.
Yeah, it is, and the times, a lot of the times I've lost. Some were legitimate losses that I was responsible for, and some were the hearing officer didn't know what they were talking about, and I ended up appealing and winning at the appellate level.
Mike, you alluded to the fact that there's a new system coming in. It's going to be more high-tech and more glitz and that sort of thing. Will the new system make it harder to fight tickets?
It depends on what new technologies are brought in and how quickly. Initially, it looks like the old meters are pretty much going to exist at least till 2010, when we should start seeing at least meters that will take credit cards and debit cards. I don't know what the time frame is. Nobody at Morgan Stanley has returned my calls regarding the implementation of the new technology. There are some new meters out there that will zero out when you leave, which of course no one likes that. If you can get a free half hour on a meter, everybody loves that. And there are some new technologies that will photograph your vehicle if the meter expires. So a photograph will be sent out, downtown and say, well, we got a photograph of the meter expiring and a photograph of your license plate.
So it sounds like it might get a little tougher.
I think it is. I think it's going to get a lot tougher. It's going to get tougher on the enforcement side because the city is hiring more parking enforcement aides. They are the new lessee of the parking meters actually can enforce more tickets, and the city already has a contract with an organization called Serco, which is contracted out to write tickets on behalf of the city. I don't think their contract is up.
All right, so it sounds like a brave new world in the world of parking ticket enforcement. Mike, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be back with the great-granddaughter of a civil rights pioneer, so stay with us.